You know that feeling when your happiness is tied to someone else's mood? Or that pit in your stomach when something you counted on just doesn't happen? That quiet desperation that comes from basing your self-worth on what you own or who wants you. This isn't freedom. It's an emotional prison. And the crazy part is, you're both the inmate and the warden. For thousands of years, people have been stuck in this same exact cycle of attachment and suffering. We grab onto things, we cling, we hope, and then we get crushed when the world, which was never really ours to control, changes without asking our permission. But what if there was another way? The ancient Stoics were talking, emperors, playwrights, and generals here. They knew this struggle inside and out. And they taught that real peace isn't found by grasping tighter, but by learning how to let go. This isn't about becoming a cold, unfeeling robot. It's about becoming unbreakable. It's the art of emotional detachment, not as apathy, but as the ultimate form of self-control. So, here are 5 ancient keys from Stoic wisdom to help you unlock those emotional chains and find a sense of calm that no person, outcome, or event can ever take away from you. Section 1. Guideline 1. Master the dichotomy of control. All right, the first and most important rule is the foundation of all Stoicism. Focus only on what you can actually control. The philosopher Epictetus, who started life as a slave and became one of the most respected teachers in the Roman Empire, built his entire philosophy on this one simple idea. He basically said, some things are up to us, and some things are not. The things that are up to us are our opinions, our goals, our desires, basically, our own actions. The things that aren't up to us, our bodies, our reputation, what other people do, how much money we have. You get the picture. Think about it. Every single time you feel anxious, frustrated, or heartbroken, it's because you've confused these 2 categories. You've attached your peace of mind to something you have zero control over. Let's say you send a vulnerable text to someone you care about. You then spend the next 3 hours in a spiral of anxiety, checking your phone, rereading your words, and imagining 100 terrible replies. You've handed over your peace of mind. You've made your inner calm dependent on someone else's mood and their response time. The same goes for your goals. You pour your heart and soul into a project, believing that its success will finally prove you're good enough. If it fails, you're devastated. Why? Because you attached your self-worth to the result, not the effort. The Stoics would say your effort and your integrity were the only things that were ever truly yours. The final outcome was always going to be affected by a million other things: the economy, your boss's bad mood, a competitor, or just pure luck. To break free, you have to constantly check yourself. The moment you feel a negative emotion creeping in anxiety, anger, jealousy, just pause and ask the question Epictetus would ask, is this thing upsetting me within my control or outside of it? If it's someone else's opinion, the outcome of an event, or how another person is behaving, you have to be ready to tell yourself, this is nothing to me. That isn't a statement of coldness. It's a declaration of freedom. It's you taking your emotional energy back from the chaotic outside world and putting it where it belongs, into your own choices, your own judgments, and your own character. As the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius constantly wrote to himself, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The first step to letting go is to stop trying to control things you were never meant to hold. Section 2. Guideline 2. Practice mindful and ruthless self-examination. The second guideline asks you to become a detective of your own mind. It's not enough to just say, "Okay, I'm attached." You have to figure out why. Stoicism isn't about quick fixes. It's about digging deep and understanding what makes you tick. Often, the attachments we form aren't really about the person or the thing itself. They're just symptoms of a deeper issue, a fear we don't want to face or a void we're desperately trying to fill. This is where mindful self-examination comes in. That intense attachment to your partner. Is it really about them being a one-of-a-kind unicorn? Or is it secretly fueled by a deep fear of being alone? That desperate need for a promotion? Is it about the work? Or are you trying to get the validation you never got from a parent? That obsession with a fancy car? Is it about the quality? Or is it a shortcut to feeling important in a world you think is judging you? The Stoics were all about this kind of introspection. Seneca, a powerful statesman in Rome, recommended a daily review. Every evening he'd ask himself, "What mistake did I fix today? What temptation did I resist? How am I better?" This wasn't about beating himself up. It was a clear-eyed audit of his own mind. To use this in your own life, start getting curious about your emotional reactions. When you feel that pull of attachment, that anxiety about losing something, or the sting of disappointment, don't just wallow in it. Interrogate it. Ask yourself, what story am I telling myself that is causing this feeling? The Stoics believed events don't disturb us, but our judgments about events do. The event itself is neutral. It's your judgment that adds the poison. Start a journal. Not a diary of what you did, but a logbook of your inner world. When you feel a painful attachment, write it down. Then ask the tough questions. What do I think this attachment gives me? What am I afraid will happen if I let it go? Be brutally honest. This process drags your hidden fears out into the open. The fear of being inadequate, the fear of being alone, the fear of being invisible. And once you see them clearly, in the light of day, they start to shrink. You realize they aren't facts. They're just stories you've been telling yourself. And if you wrote the story, you have the power to write a new one. Section 3. Guideline 3. Cultivate fierce self-reliance. This next guideline follows directly from the last one. Once you've found the voids your attachments are trying to fill, the next job is to learn to fill them yourself. This is all about cultivating a fierce sense of self-reliance. It's about building an inner fortress so strong and well-stocked that your happiness no longer depends on outside approval. So much of the pain from attachment comes from feeling incomplete. We think we need that person to feel whole, that job to feel successful, or that lifestyle to feel happy. The Stoics would say this is a huge mistake. They taught that we are already whole, and our true happiness can only come from one place, our own virtue. Living a life of reason, courage, and integrity. Everything else, health, wealth, reputation, even relationships, they called indifference. Now some are preferred indifference, meaning they're nice to have, for sure, but they are not necessary for a good and happy life. This might sound a little harsh, but it's actually incredibly empowering. When you stop needing someone's approval to feel worthy, you're free to love them authentically, not out of desperation. When you stop needing a specific outcome to feel successful, you're free to just do your best work for the sake of the work itself. So, how do you build this self-reliance? First, learn to enjoy your own company. The fear of being alone drives so many unhealthy attachments. A Stoic would say that if you can't be a good friend to yourself, you can't be a good friend to anyone. Practice being alone, not as a punishment, but as an opportunity. Go for a walk by yourself. Read a book. Work on a passion project just for you. Find out who you are when nobody's watching. Second, start making decisions based on your own values, not on what you think other people will say. Before you do something, ask, is this aligned with the person I want to be? Instead of, what will they think of me? This shifts your sense of self-worth from something you beg for from the outside world to something you build yourself. Seneca understood that a person who relies on externals is like a house built on sand. When the storm comes, and a storm always comes, the house collapses. But a person who has built their happiness on their own character has a fortress. Relationships end, jobs are lost, money disappears. But your character and your ability to choose your response, those are yours forever. Section 4. Guideline 4. Intentionally meditate on impermanence. This fourth guideline might sound a little dark, but it's one of the most life-changing practices in all of Stoicism. Regularly meditating on the fact that everything is temporary. The Stoics called this premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of misfortunes. This isn't about being a pessimist. It's a form of psychological vaccination. By exposing your mind to small imagined doses of loss, you build up an immunity to the shock and pain of real loss. We suffer so much because we live under a delusion of permanence. We just assume our loved ones will always be around, our health will last, and our jobs will be secure. Then, when reality hits a breakup, a death, a layoff, we're shattered. We feel like the universe broke a promise it made to us. But the universe never made that promise. We just wrote it on a piece of paper and forgot we were the ones who wrote it. Marcus Aurelius, who was literally the most powerful man in the world, constantly reminded himself of this. He'd write things like, "Observe always that everything is the result of change." To practice this, take a moment to consciously think about the temporary nature of the things you're attached to. Epictetus advised that when you kiss your child goodnight, you should quietly remind yourself that you are kissing a mortal. He said this not to make the moment morbid, but to make it more precious and to prepare your soul for the natural way of things. When you're enjoying a perfect moment with your partner, silently acknowledge that this too will pass. It doesn't make the moment sadder, it makes it infinitely more valuable. Apply this to your stuff too. Look at your favorite car or your phone. Remind yourself that these are just on loan from the universe. They could be gone tomorrow. By mentally rehearsing their loss, two things happen. First, they loosen their grip on you. You realize that your core self would survive just fine without them. And second, you start enjoying them more for what they are right now, instead of seeing them as a permanent part of your identity. When you live with the quiet understanding that nothing lasts forever, you stop demanding permanence from a world that can only offer change. Your happiness is no longer about holding on tight. It's found in appreciating things fully, precisely because you know they won't be here forever. Section 5. Guideline 5. Engage fully, but without clinging. This final guideline ties all the others together, and it's the one most people get wrong. The idea is to engage completely with life, but without clinging to the results. Letting go of attachments doesn't mean hiding away from the world in an emotionless shell. That's not stoicism, that's just apathy. The goal isn't to stop caring. The goal is to care deeply, love fully, and act with purpose, all without making your inner peace dependent on the outcome. Think of it like this. A Stoic is like an archer. The archer does everything in her power to hit the target. She perfects her stance. She checks the wind. She controls her breathing. And she executes a perfect release. Everything up until the arrow leaves the bow is within her control. But once the arrow is flying, it's out of her hands. A sudden gust of wind, an unseen branch, anything could happen. A foolish archer bases her self-worth on whether the arrow hits the bullseye. If it misses, she's a failure. But the Stoic archer bases her success on the process of shooting. Did she do everything in her power, with skill and focus? If the answer is yes, then she has succeeded, no matter where the arrow lands. This is the blueprint for a life free from unhealthy attachment. You engage with your relationships and your work with that same dedication. You love people with your whole heart, but you don't try to control them or demand that they make you happy. You work toward your goals with passion, but you accept that the final result isn't entirely up to you. You can prefer that your relationship lasts. You can prefer that your business succeeds, but you don't need those things to maintain your self-respect. As Seneca put it, we may weep when we lose someone we love, but we must not wail. Grief is a natural response. It shows how much we valued what we had. But wailing is a judgment. It's the belief that something was stolen from us and our life is now ruined. A Stoic grieves, but they don't despair, because they never believed that person was theirs to keep forever in the first place. This is the ultimate freedom. It's the freedom to jump into the beautiful, messy, unpredictable dance of life without being terrified of a misstep. It's loving with an open hand, not a clenched fist. It's trying your absolute best while being at peace with whatever happens next. Conclusion: the path to releasing your attachments isn't a one-time fix. It's a lifelong practice. It starts with mastering what you can and cannot control. It deepens when you investigate the fears that are really driving your attachments. It's strengthened by building an inner fortress of self-reliance. And it's tested by meditating on the temporary nature of everything. And finally, it all comes together in the wisdom to engage fully with life, but to let go of the results. These 5 guidelines aren't about emptying your life of the things you love. They're about filling your life with a love so strong and a peace so deep that it can't be shaken by anything. It's about shifting your source of happiness from the chaotic world outside to the calm, unconquerable kingdom within. If this resonated with you, subscribe for more wisdom from the ancient Stoics, broken down for modern life. Share this video with someone you know who feels stuck on the emotional roller coaster of attachment. And for a little self-reflection, answer this in the comments. Which of these 5 guidelines do you need to practice most in your life right now? Remember, the journey to inner freedom starts with a single step. Go ahead and take it.